This is shocking news. The Ring of Fire. The world is to be struck by at least 5 major earthquakes by the end of this year. This is what the geologists are warning of. Well, one of them is Ben van der Ploegem. He says that Japan is basically one big volcano. And of course, we know volcanoes and earthquakes are striking Japan. It's an everyday thing. The Kieran McGrath of Express briefs this. It says that the Ring of Fire, from what he's told, is likely to see several more earthquakes, megathrust earthquakes, in the excess of 7 magnitude before the end of this year, 2018. This is what a seismologist has warned. He stresses the awesome power of the huge geological feature of the Ring of Fire, which is of course encompassing the whole of the Pacific Basin. And as you see, this is the animation from NASA's Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, NOAA. And you can see it up to the recent earthquakes that we have. This whole Pacific Basin is the Ring of Fire that lights up. And it's very nice to see this in fast motion because of the fact that you can actually see, for example, here in the Aleutian Islands, the red is the most, that's Japan. The red is the current earthquakes. And you see how they work up towards the fault lines along the Ring of Fire. In that they seem to be connected, especially down here in the south. See there, look at all the red spots there between Antarctica and Australia and South America. And then you see them working all the way up towards there you go, California coast. It started basically from the bottom, and it's again up towards Oregon, and then it goes towards Kamchatka. You see, it worked itself. The Aleutian Islands, they seem to be working themselves up from the bottom. I mean, they do seem to be very much connected. So this is what they're warning of, and obviously they're not basing it on a whim. They have evidence of this. Ben van der Ploegem, who is the scientist of the University of Michigan, commented this last week when he saw 25 earthquakes in only 24 hours between Tuesday and Wednesday. We reported on that. The biggest of this was 7.1 magnitude quake that happened off the coast of New Caledonia in the South Pacific. And Mr. van der Ploegem said it was unlikely to be the last large one. And as we see again in this animation, they are interconnected. Shows you how small our Earth is. They're interconnected. So he says, we have a good sense about the number of earthquakes there are around the world, and the seismic events actually behave in quiet and organized manner. We generally expect between 10 and 20 above 7 magnitude each year. We have had 8 so far this year, most recently in New Caledonia, as we said, that's here down in the south. New Caledonia, so we should see another 5, he says, if not more, before the end of the year, and many of these will be around the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire is a huge geological feature and the primary source of major earthquakes and volcanoes in the world. Estimated 90% of the earthquakes are on the Ring of Fire, 90% of the world's earthquakes. For example, Japan is in the Ring of Fire, and Japan is basically one great volcano, he said. And he goes on to add, that's why they're so good at predicting when eruption and earthquakes are going to happen. The Ring of Fire is a 25-mile horseshoe-shaped area around the Pacific Basin, and it's the hotbed for seismic activity. And in the middle of that, of course, is also the hot spot of Hawaii, which are volcanic islands. And we recently had the Kilauea volcano erupting for at least 3 months. It's in a pause right now. Now, for example, in Bali, where the island of Lombok also has been rocked by a series of massive quakes recently claiming the lives of almost 500 people. It's located in what we call the Horseshoe Fire, affected by a different set of tectonic plates. He also said that he's been surprised by a cluster of tremors in northern Alaska this month, centered in the North Slope region. Yes, that's something else that we have to make another video on. There are many earthquakes on the north of Alaska, the border between Alaska and Canada, and there could be like 10 or 20 a day, and I don't know for the life of me why they're occurring so much there. So that's the news, that we're expecting major megathrust earthquakes, at least 5 by the end of this year. I'll leave links below for you for this on Express UK. Kindly support by contributing to my Patreon account. You'll find it in the description box below. Thank you.